A city, a garden, a country. Singapore is all of this in one. How much can we explore and experience in just 24 hours? Hi travelers, I'm Sandra, one of the content creators behind this channel. Recently, I went on a work trip to Singapore, and it was absolutely amazing. I can't wait to share it with you. The first 2 days were packed with conferences, but we finally got a free day. It was my first time in Singapore, and I was eager to see as much as possible. Since we are a customized private tour company, I asked one of our travel experts to help plan the itinerary. But with so much to see and do, did we really manage to cover it all? Stay tuned to find out. Before I talk about our day trip, I wanted to share some basic impressions of Singapore. The first thing I noticed about Singapore is so clean and green. You can see why they call it the Garden City. You will see trees and plants everywhere, even mixed into the buildings. The modern design blends beautifully with nature organically, which is so cool. Here is a fun fact. Chewing gum is banned in Singapore. You can't chew it or even bring it into the country. Singapore also has strict rules about keeping the streets clean, which is probably why everything looks so spotless, even with so many tourists. Another thing I love is that Singapore is super English friendly. Most signs, menus, and public transport are in English, so it's really easy to get around. Even though there are not many language barriers, Singaporeans also use Singlish. It's a mix of English and local languages. Phrases like "Don't worry lah" or "Really meh?" sound so fun and unique. Before traveling, don't forget to register on the MyICA app or official website. It will give you a barcode, making your entry quick and smooth. If you love food like me, you will love Singapore. During this trip, I tried so many dishes like seafood noodles, laksa, bak kut teh, and Hainanese chicken rice, etc. And I loved them so much. At the hawker center, I had a bowl of fresh laksa made right in front of me. The coconut broth was creamy and spicy, and the noodles were soft and perfect to slurp. Every bite had a mix of chili heat, lemongrass's fragrance, and shrimp umami flavor. For drinks, the sour plum apple juice really surprised me. It's refreshing and sweet, but the sour plum adds a tangy twist. It's a perfect drink for hot weather here. In Singapore, there's so much more you can taste. Have you ever tried any of this before? Tell me in the comments. Now, let's talk about the best part. After 2 days of meetings, let's dive into our mission. Our first stop was the National Museum of Singapore. It was a fascinating dive into the country's history and culture, providing us with a deep understanding for Singapore's unique blend of tradition and modernity. After soaking up the history, we decided to explore one of the most vibrant neighborhoods, Little India. As we walked through the bustling street, I couldn't help but feel a sense of excitement. The color of buildings, the smells of spices in the air, and the sounds of Indian music made me feel like I had stepped into another world. We even visited a Hindu temple, which added a spiritual touch to the experience. Since the Deepavali festival was approaching, the whole area has adorned with lights and decorations, making the streets look like a celebration in itself. It was fascinating to see how Singapore embraces its multicultural identity. I really want to buy a sari or get a henna tattoo, but we didn't have time to do either because we had to quickly make our way to our next stop, a completely different cultural district. Kampong Glam was next on our list. As we wander through its Malay heritage area, we are immediately drawn in by the aroma of grilled meats from the food stalls. With its magnificent golden dome, the Masjid Sultan was breathtaking against the clear sky. We spent some time exploring Haji Lane, a quirky, narrow street lined with unique boutiques and colorful murals. It was one of those places where you could easily lose track of time, admiring all of the creative little shops. I end up picking up some adorable eco-friendly bags and mirrors as gifts for friends and family. There's something about the vibrant atmosphere of these places that make me feel completely relaxed and at home. Next up was Garden by the Bay, which was an absolute highlight of the trip. I had seen pictures of Super Tree Grove before, but nothing compares to seeing it in person. The park is free to enter, but I definitely recommend you pay for the cloud forest and the flower dome. The cloud forest was one of a kind. Stepping inside felt like entering a mystical rainforest. It was a refreshing escape from the heat outside, and the cool mist created an otherworldly vibe that was unlike anything I've ever experienced. As a fan of plants, I was blown away by the variety and incredible designs within the garden. The flower dome, though beautiful, didn't leave quite the same impact on me, especially after the awe-inspiring cloud forest. But the special Monet exhibit inside was a nice touch and perfect for some Instagram-worthy photos. From the gardens, we took a short walk over to Merlion Parks. Of course, we couldn't leave Singapore without seeing the iconic Merlion. Standing next to the statue, I reflected on how much history it symbolized. With its combination of the lion representing Singapore's original name, Singapura, and the fishtail symbolizing Singaporeans' fishing heritage. The view of the Marina Bay Sands Hotel and the Art Science Museum in the background made of the perfect settings, reminding me just how modern and forward-thinking Singapore is, while still preserving its roots. To wrap up the day, we enjoyed a serene evening walk along the Singapore River, passing the Old Hill Street Police Station with its colorful windows and looked like they were straight out of a postcard. The air was warm but soothing as we meandered through the historic district, reflecting on how much we had already experienced. The next morning, we had an unforgettable experience at Changi Airport. Known as the world's most beautiful airport, it truly lives up to its reputation. The Jewel area, with its indoor waterfall, was absolutely stunning. It's hard to believe such a spectacular exists inside an airport. The waterfall is the largest indoor waterfall in the world, and the way it's framed by the multi-level shopping area is nothing short of breathtaking. You can even take a little train right between terminals to get an up-close view. It's a perfect example of how Singapore blends functionality with our inspiring design. In the end, we had to cut our trip short due to time. So, did we manage to check off everything on our Singapore bucket list? Unfortunately, no. We missed out on the zoo, botanical gardens, Sentosa Island, and even more. I honestly believe that Singapore is a place where you could spend days, for even weeks. But that's okay because it gives me a reason to come back. Thank you for joining me on this journey. What would you want to see most in Singapore? Let me know in the comments. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like and subscribe. Until next time, happy travel!